on Twitter. He's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, I see it pop up on my timeline from now and then.
I think I might have gotten it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Yep.
Are we?
It looks like you're back where we left off.
So, did you catch the results of the voting for the poll?
And now.
Terry won 50%.
Oh, nice.
All right. Well, we'll assume Terry won then.
I have over 900 views on a poetry reading of Carl Sandburg, the worst poet on my entire fucking channel. I hate that guy's poetry. I have since stopped because everything he writes is this depressing shit. It's awful.
That's probably why it's only 900.
Why'd you read his poetry then?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, what I did was originally when I started the poetry thing is I looked up a list of famous authors and he's one of the names that popped up for poets. And so I just figured, okay, I'll give it a try. And it's just depressing. You read like 3 of his poems, you want to kill yourself. It's just that bad.
Well, that's why you research before you just dive in.
But more
that would require forward thinking, which I don't possess.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to our next article before Streamlabs screws us over again.
Please.
All right. Great. I'm picking up the article now.
There's a black screen. Does this mean that Medium has ended?
No.
If only. There it is.
The Little Mermaid remake is right on race, but still not quite right for me.
Okay, so is I have to ask, is this one of those few moments of clarity where a medium writer realizes that sometimes a turd of a movie is just a turd and it's not because the lead character is black?
Now we'll find out her reasons. Yeah.
It's gonna be much worse, isn't it?
Representation matters. And so I'm paying close attention to Halle Bailey's turn as Ariel, aka the Little Mermaid, in the upcoming remake of the classic Disney film. Since they released a teaser last week, my attention has been particularly celebratory, besotted, motherly. The TikTok videos of young brown girls beaming with astonished, unfiltered joy as they realize that this Ariel is brown/black, like them, are revelatory and gorgeous.
And nothing says getting a lot of sun like the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Exactly.
Also another ginger replacement.
Right.
Are black people black because they get a lot of sun?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's developed over time.
Because I see little babies get born in black babies, and they're black without even being in air.
Well, they got a lot of sun in the womb.
Yeah, do you have any idea how bright it is in there?
Obviously.
It's genetics.
That's evolutionary, yeah. Like, they evolved to have darker skin because they live in hot climates.
That's but it's not all roses. For one thing, I've taken some very deep breaths after seeing the asinine outcry from people who cannot handle the idea of a black Little Mermaid. Black Twitter has served up trenchant, pithy, and hilarious responses to the nonsense, and I have just two things...
I'm sure that it was very funny. I'm sure you're going to share some of those hilarious jokes with us.
And I have just 2 things to add. One, this is nothing new. We see the same complaints when black characters appear in Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Thor, Titans, Superman, The Witcher, and more. And 2, the reason this is nothing new is because attempts by white people to define what can, cannot, or must be white are deeply and inextricably rooted in the racism and white dominance that underwrites our culture and country.
Great, now do Ghost in the Shell.
So how long till we get a white blade?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know how everybody hated Lando Calrissian back in like 1980?
Right. Right.
Like that right there. The insistence that whiteness is a thing from which some people must be excluded and in which other people must be wrapped and protected at all costs is literally the mental and moral fallacy at the heart of white dominance. Just saying. I'm also bracing myself for the damage the Little Mermaid remake may yet do to my daughter, even as she gets, and I get, something intangible and intensely good from seeing the new Black Ariel.
I take it this author is black.
I think so.
Yeah,
If
okay.
you can only
sense.
connect with a character because they share a similar physical feature to you, then you are the most shallow human being on earth.
Yeah, I fucking hated the Blade
author
movies because the guy was black. That's why I hated those movies. I
Yeah.
loved Blade.
The author is black. I posted a picture in chat, courtesy of Spudgun.
So good are people at connecting to things that don't even resemble them. They will connect to inanimate objects if you just like give them a fucking name. Seriously, I'm like, how many kids movies involve like inanimate objects that talk? Well,
Wasn't there a
technically
woman
they
who
would no
married?
longer be inanimate objects, but you know
Wasn't
what I
there?
mean.
Wasn't there a woman who married a bridge?
Probably.
Yes, there was.
People
Yep.
can connect to anything.
People there's literally a thing where people will see faces in inanimate objects, like in a picture or something like that.
Well,
Like
the
they'll
man
think
in the
that a purse is smiling because of the arrangement of buttons. There's no face there.
Yeah, but like the man in the moon is just like holes in the ground, but we see it as a face because we're so trained to recognize that configuration of shapes as a face.
People are extremely empathetic. We're almost geniuses at it in a way. But the notion that we're somehow lacking in empathy, or the notion that we are lacking in empathy while this author can't connect to a character because they don't have black skin, I think is laughable. This person is incredibly shallow, and I'm kind of sad.
Got it backwards, boobs. Empathy comes from melanin, and only black people can have it because that guy on the radio, is it Charlemagne? Was he the one who said that?
Charlemagne the God?
Might have been him. It was someone that I'd never heard of, but they said melanin is the source of empathy, and that's why white people don't have any.
Like Nick Cannon or something.
Nick Cannon. That's right. Yep.
I don't know.
That's the name.
I think Charlemagne the God was like the one that Hillary did the hot sauce bit with.
No, Charlemagne the God is the one that Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
You ain't black, yeah.
Let's see. I was 8 or 9 when my mother let me see the original Little Mermaid, my first Disney movie. It was playing in the small stucco building of the local movie theater, and I was enthralled, my fingertips oiled with fake popcorn butter, thick red swoop of Ariel's floating hair, and the dark underside of her bangs, the pale, impossible angles of her thin waist, the massiveness of her eyes, and tininess of her chin capturing my imagination. Within the strokes of the animator's pen was a potent definition of beauty and a clear message about the trajectory of female lives. Girls give up who they are born as in order to fulfill their destiny, which of course is to secure male desire and get married. To put a finer point on it, girls literally alter their physical nature, mermaid to human, tail to legs, and shrivel their vocal cords, the mute damsel, to fulfill their destiny, marriage.
Oh, I see. So it's not about what Ariel wanted. Ariel never wanted that life for herself.
Yeah, she liked being stuck down underwater. It's not like it's not like she had a whole musical number about how she wanted to be a part of their world. Yeah, it was all about a man or something.
But because that wasn't her own free will talking. That was just the male fucking chauvinism that she's been forced to deal with talking for her.
It was just the power of dick. She
Exactly.
wanted to so she was compelled.
I mean, gadgets and gizmos will only get you so far, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
She's looking for that seahorse cock.
It
She's
was
looking for a good semen.
it was the body project intersecting explicitly with the marriage plot. You could argue that the story portrays a young woman taking action to pursue her dream, but that doesn't get you very far. Her dream is to be
Because it doesn't fit the narrative, I'm sure.
her dream is to be physically transformed, to have a different and better body. Funny, or maybe painful, how the metaphor of Ariel's body transformation cleaved itself to my actual life. I have endured countless diets and punitive exercise sessions trying to shape my body into the kind of body I thought boys and later men wanted.
She's a fat activist.
Let this be a lesson to the rational people in the room. You can never appease these people. You can never appease a professional activist. They're fucking psychos.
All they needed to do was have Lizzo play the Little Mermaid and everything would have been fine.
Yeah, and then she could have desecrated a flute and stuck it up her vagina, because I assume that's what
Yay.
he does.
Naturally.
Let's see. This diet and exercise madness began when I was 4 or 5, before I saw The Little Mermaid, because my family thought I was too chubby. So I can't pin my entire experience on Disney. Yeah, judging by your photo, they weren't wrong.
Faithless suggests an alternative title, The Little Walrus.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe she can play a buoy or something.
Maybe she can play a beach ball.
Yeah. But seeing the little...
If she got pushed up, if she got the body that allowed her to go to Earth, they would just push her back in the water.
Let's see, but seeing The Little Mermaid was consequential because it presented the quest for a different body in childish terms, in the slinky, seductive grammar of fairy tales, in a language I spoke and understood as my own. It presented beauty and ugliness as a binary that interlocked with goodness and evil, desirability and repugnance. Consider Ariel's opposite, Ursula, whose body is protuberantly fat and therefore reads in this particular culture as odious, out of control and vile, just like her unpleasant personality.
I have news. If life really is that binary, then this author gets the shit end of every stick.
Yeah. And she's evil, apparently. Interesting side note. Turns out you can predict whether a Disney character is a princess or a villain based solely on their waist-to-hip ratio. I could not, at age 4 or 5 or 8 or 9, when I saw The Little Mermaid, see my body as sexual, but I understood that something about my body was a site for cishet male desire, or lack of desire. Beauty and ugliness mattered. I was trapped in the binary, and the binary was encoded on every female body, including very young female bodies that I encountered in TV, movies, books, music videos, and magazines, and often in real life.
Do you remember what I said earlier about how activists aren't really nicer towards ugly people? They just find more creative ways to be nasty about it. This is kind of one of those cases in action. Disney is not going to be nicer to fat people. They're not going, because fat people are ugly. And so as a result, there's never going to be a fat Disney princess, because a fat Disney princess just wouldn't sell at all. It wouldn't sell a solitary copy. That's all there is to it.
They're pretty nice to the fat people in Wall-E. Did you see the chairs they gave them? Fucking took them everywhere, fed them, gave them drinks when they needed. Didn't have to lift a fucking finger. I want one of those chairs.
I understood even then that when my sister pressed sparkling shadow onto her eyelids, or my mom scooped Slim Fast powder into the blender, It had something to do with ugliness versus beauty, and also with male desire, needing it. Its absence suggesting a hopeless present and a hopeless future, too. As sociologist Heather Lane Talley writes, girls dream of being beautiful, but perhaps equally important, girls fear being ugly. While the intense desire to be beautiful certainly generates insidious consequences, anxieties around ugliness can be taxing too. Fearing ugliness is, at core, a fear about the future, as if a good life is exclusively determined by what we look like.
Yeah, but there's
What,
no
you
such
think
thing as
that
an ugly woman, just a woman who's not wearing makeup.
Yeah.
you think that men aren't concerned with how they look at all? I mean, come on. You just if you're not a beautiful person, a woman will dump all over you.
Yeah, you know how the male love interests in Disney movies, they're always like fat and ugly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like the prince in the Little Mermaid. He was real ugly looking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an easy trope about dumping on an ugly man at this point. You know, people talk about they bitch about the movie or the sitcom where the beautiful woman is married to the ugly dude. What, you don't think that that's a negative stereotype about men?
The movie
It's
is
it's
out
a
of my league.
giant lazy ugly stereotype about ugly men.
And it's not only ugly. I mean, men are almost invariably portrayed as idiots on sitcoms as well.
I mean, on television commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that these things don't concern men? That they might be portrayed or viewed as stupid and fat and ugly? Because I got news for you. They're concerned. The only people who aren't concerned are the people who don't suffer from any of those issues.
But I think I know what her response would be, which is men are ugly, stupid, and all the rest of it. So they should feel that way.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I've got a good personality. I've got a nice personality, so
yeah. So have Kevin James play the prince in Little Mermaid.
You joke, but in an animated version.
God.
Let's see. The Little Mermaid rhymed with and compounded the messages I'd already absorbed from the culture, then wrapped it all in a pretty child-sized pill. I want my child, a little brown girl, to see her racial identity reflected positively in the media. I also want to spare her from awareness of the male gaze. And
Is
awareness...
that what you want?
Yes.
Is that what you want? Well, guess what? You're not going to get it. Have a nice day.
It's, I think it's just a shame that Gilbert Gottfried died because he would have been perfect to play every male role in every cartoon.
True.
Yeah.
I can't do a Gilbert
Even-
Godfrey, but
Even the female roles, just every role in a movie is played by Gilbert Gottfried.
That
He
would have
doesn't
been
even
awesome.
try to change the sound of his voice. He just does the same fucking voice for every single character.
Wish I could be a part of their world.
Under the sea.
An awareness that her beauty and its ability, or lack of ability, to elicit male desire are still considered paramount in this culture, for as long as I possibly can. As a mother, I consider this a core job responsibility. Your core responsibility is to deal with your child's ugliness.
Yeah.
The problem with The Little Mermaid, no matter who plays Ariel, is that it makes my job harder, not easier. Unless they've rewritten the story, this new version, wonderful though it is to see Hallie as Ariel, is still propaganda. It is still pushing the message that beauty and ugliness are two ends of a spectrum that can and should shape your life, that reveal your value and character. It is still pushing the message that marriage is the ne plus ultra of female ambition. It is still pushing the message that girls should sacrifice their nature, their bodies, and their voices in pursuit of their dreams. I cannot think of a...
I would just like to ask, what bar has stopped progressives from utterly idolizing Ursula? Because progressives idolize the shit out of Ursula.
Yeah, well, she's fat.
It doesn't even make sense. She's fat and evil. Why do they love her so much?
Plus, her character was based on a tranny.
No, but because they can relate to being fat and ugly.
Yeah.
I thought it was based on a drag queen.
Yeah, the Divine or whatever.
Divine, was it?
Yeah, but that was just a drag queen. It wasn't a tranny.
Well, I don't know. They're all the same now. Like, they're all under the same umbrella nowadays. I cannot think of a more insidious and degrading lesson to teach girls or boys or anyone about the relationship between who we are and what we want, between what we look like and the lives we'll lead. Yes, my job as a mother is also to roll with the cultural punches, to find teachable moments, to help my child develop cultural literacy, to deal with it. I get it. I don't demand that all media and art conform to my personal and political standards.
No, not at all.
That's not the entire purpose of this article.
And I don't expect a world in which I never have to explain anything complex to my child. In fact, we may see the movie simply to enjoy the racial equity it nods toward, and to celebrate and support Halle Bailey. So, not because it's a good movie, just to celebrate equity.
Well, no one watches movies for the fact that they're a good movie anymore. Come on, man.
Yeah.
She is going to take such great relish in explaining the political relevance of this movie to her child. Her child won't even understand what the fuck her mom's talking about, but her mom is going to shove the message down that little bastard's throat.
Yeah, okay, Mom, that's great. But did you see when she got legs?
Also, she didn't have cankles like you do, Mom.
Like, did you see how far apart her legs got from each other? I didn't know they could get that far. I've only seen you walk. You carry me everywhere.
You know what the little girl's gonna say once she sees the movie? She's gonna ask, "Where's Elsa?"
Or she's gonna ask, "Why can't we watch the original?" But I wish they'd really seized the moment over at Disney. I wish they too were committed to helping girls see much, much more than body projects and marriage when they gaze at the horizon or in the mirror. I wish they'd found a way to make The Little Mermaid part of the world we want, not just part of the world we have.
I hate this.
Welcome to the corner.
I wonder how her husband feels about this. Oh wait, she's black. Never mind.
Oh.
Oh yeah, she has neither father nor husband. I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, they should also have the version where Prince Eric runs away at the end.
Jesus Christ.
He just went out for scratches, that's all. Did he win?
Alright. Well, now it's time for the second game, which is for the chat-only boobs.
Yeah, boobs.
And that is the caption contest, where I'll show a photo of a political figure or event, and the chat has to come up with a caption for it, and whichever one we like best, I'll tweet out after the show. This week we've got Biden meeting with some bitch from Florida about the hurricane, and not looking creepy at all.
Is this where he said
No.
Never mess with Biden?
No.
I just want to clarify. This game is for the chat only, so that means Garrett Hedlund is not allowed to play. But I believe there's a person, Della Hayes, in chat. I think he should be fine to play because he's not on the stream.
Yeah, he's a completely different person.
I don't even know why we needed to explain that. That should be just obvious.
Yeah.
It should be, but some people are slow.
Boobs.
Hey.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Perfect timing. Some
Indeed.
people are slow. Then a minute later, hey.
Let's see. You're too old to smell. You know I'm Puerto Rican. Let's see. Little Mermaid being black makes no sense. She can swim and knows her dad. You know I just shat myself. So you agree to be my main girl for sniffing? Are you
Yeah,
real?
when he says don't that you don't fuck with Biden, he was talking to a guy at that point.
Mhm.
So
Did I tell you who I am? Because I don't remember. I grew up in a large Florida community. And this, my apprentice, is how you sniff a child.
Ebony, you can enter as many as you want.
is she holding his hand?
Yep.
This is on my far monitor. I really can't make it out, but it looks like her hand is where his crotch is.
Well,
No, they're holding hands.
Yeah, they're shaking hands.
Oh, okay. From
Uh,
the distance, it doesn't look like it. It looks like he's going to urinate or something. She's holding it for him.
You're not Ashley?
It looks like she's about to hold this man up as he has a stroke.
Thank you, Mrs. President.
Look how white his hair is. Jesus.
He does not look good.
Can
He
you...
didn't look good at the start, and he looks like shit every single day.
Can you show me to the kitty section? Answer me answer me this. Just who am I? Let's see.
It's like if your shit took a shit. You know? Every day, the shit takes another shit. That's Joe Biden.
If you shake it more than 3 times, you're just playing with it. You just got done sucking out her melanin for not voting for him. So you'll only charge $3.50 for the first hour? Is this where I'm supposed to... Where's my pudding? Are you my sister or my wife?
Well played.
Sorry, darling, you're too old for me. Right. I think I'll cut her off there, because we got a bunch.
Fair.
So, which ones do you guys like best?
I like Red Dirt Runner. Did I tell you who I am? Because I don't remember.
Yeah, same.
Boobs and Hammer.
I like Red Dirt Runner's other one. Are you my sister or my wife? But honestly, I mean, it's kind of redundant, so I'll just vote for the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with the first one too.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I think I'll vote for it too. All right, so
No.
looks like Red Dirt Runner is the winner this week.
Congratulations.
Unanimous decision. Well done.
Jack will not give you a golf clap.
Ain't quippers, motherfucker.
Thankfully.
Copy that down so I can tweet it out later. All right. And now on to our third article. 7 lessons I'll teach my son about masculinity.
Oh dear God.
Oh, this is written by a woman, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh God. Make it stop.
You know how I know
She-
that? Because men don't say it; they just do it.
Yeah. If she has to teach, that means the man isn't around to do it himself.
That's a good point.
If women want to change the patriarchy, they have to become better mothers.
Sounds like she wants them to become fathers.
Lesson number 1: never leave for cigarettes.
Yeah.
In today's world, men can be both villains and victims of the patriarchy, although we refuse to admit that sometimes. Personally, feminism isn't only about fighting for women's rights, it's about making all areas of life equal for all genders. and men's issues ultimately count toward that too. So let's talk about some of them. Part of striving to live in a better world lies in raising our children in a way that will eventually make this planet a better place. If I ever have a son, there are things I'm going to teach him that many men may have never been taught. Which is why
I would just, but before you go any further, I just want to remind the audience to remember what I said earlier about whenever a woman defines masculinity, they just define femininity. So I'm mentally preparing for a lot of that right now.
And I would just like to take this opportunity to ask the audience to send out prayers that she doesn't have a son.
Which is why they carry so many unhealthy behavioral patterns within them. Good men are often embarrassed to be men nowadays.
Not true.
Yeah, she said it right there, Terry. Their gender
Hashtag.
Their gender carries so many bad connotations with it that it's sometimes difficult to find that healthy spot where a man is proud of his masculinity without being toxic, violent, or feeling guilty.
Projection, because you're toxic and violent, and also these are your perceptions of men.
If we want to achieve gender equality, we need to try to raise men who are proud of their gender in the best way possible. Our sons need to be men who love healthy masculinity and don't fall for the toxic traps that the patriarchy lays out for them.
Here we go.
We need to marry men who are bound to be good fathers, and we need to become better mothers ourselves. I want my son to be proud of being a man. I want him to treat people with respect and to have a healthy confidence in his own masculinity. That's why I'll teach him these 7 lessons.
As a single mother. Good job.
Vulnerability is strength.
So right out the gate.
Also,
right out the gate. Holy shit.
Also, war is peace and freedom is slavery.
Exactly. Yes.
How many times are boys told they cry like a girl? Way too many.
No, they're told don't cry because that's a girl thing to do.
This saying not only frames girls as overly sensitive, hysterical human beings.
In other words,
They are.
accurately.
No, the girls frame them as overly sensitive human beings.
Well,
No.
all I'm saying is they should stop being that if they don't want to be described as it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It sounds more like the author being a hysterical, emotional human being.
Yep.
But it also shows boys that there's something inherently anti-masculine in crying.
I've said it before. Each man gets 1 tear that they are allowed to shed during their lifetime, and it has to roll slowly down their cheek. That's it. That's the one you get.
And you're only able to do it when your partner in the police dies.
Yes.
Let's see. Instead of opening up, they resolve to bottle their emotions inside of them. The only feeling they let out is anger, which is only multiplied by all of the emotional turmoil that's been boiling underneath their skin for so long.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is anger not a legitimate emotion to have? Because last I checked, anger is something that men have. Are you talking about masculinity or are you talking about femininity?
Also,
No. Anger is an illegitimate emotion. You should only feel good emotions, female-approved emotions.
Also, I've never seen any man express an emotion other than anger.
Yeah.
When my son cries, I want him to know that it's okay. I want him to know that there's nothing unmanly about shedding a few tears, or many tears for that matter. On the contrary, it makes him authentic and honest about who he is and how he feels, which people often appreciate.
You can be authentic and honest about being a faggot. It's okay.
No, I think it depends what you're crying about. If you're crying because, they don't have the thing you want at the store, then no, that's not a legitimate reason to cry. You should, man up, so to speak. If you're crying because your parents died in a car crash, okay, that's a legitimate reason to cry.
or if they were shot outside a local opera house. That would be a legitimate reason to cry, I'm sure.
No, you don't cry. You
No,
just become
no.
Batman. That's the
Exactly. Exactly.
that's the manly response to trauma.
That's true.
all great-
Batman became Batman because he never grieved over his parents.
Dude, the greatest superheroes exist because of trauma. I mean, why do you think Superman's so great? His parents died so bad, he got new parents and they died.
Mm.
All right. Okay. A man who cries is a real man. There's nothing girly about showing sadness. All right. Next thing. He has to do house chores. While growing up,
Well, most people do.
which men have never done. While growing up, I was taught that women were supposed to do house chores while men only helped out. Well, let me tell
No. What's gonna happen is she's going to say, yes, but the man still has to do the job. He has to go to work and earn a living, and then come home and then do jobs. Well, then do housework. While she does housework, doesn't do a job, and let's just call it even.
I mean,
Exactly.
really? Because, I mean, I always took out the trash and mowed the lawn and raked and all that stuff. But
That doesn't count.
yeah. All right. Well, let me tell you something. As long as your wife works the same number of hours you do, there's no reason why she should take more care of the house and children than you. It doesn't make any sense. The only reason this large gender gap still exists in households is that it makes the world a little easier for men. According to research, women still do 60% more housework. My son,
Do they do 60% less paid work?
That's an irrelevant detail. Stop distracting us from the point.
yeah. My son will know that in our home, house chores are divided. He will grow up to be a capable and responsible man who knows how to iron his own shirts and cook something that's actually edible.
Yeah, you know what we call a guy that doesn't do the work or doesn't put in his fair share? A sack of shit.
A communist?
There's nothing masculine. There's nothing masculine about being a sack of shit. No one has ever suggested that being a sack. In fact, it's very much the opposite. Masculinity is correlated with being a provider. That is a masculine feature, to be a provider for the family. That is the antithesis of what this woman is describing.
I think Boobs needs to do a bit more gender studies. He's clearly just confused.
Yeah.
Your misogyny's showing, bro.
You need to cry more.
Hmm.
Okay,
And do
man.
more housework.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a broom.
I need to stop being so angry and just be sad all the time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have you tried eating a loaf of bread?
What?
The way I see it, the societal phenomenon of turning men into grown-up babies isn't only hard on women. It also makes it more difficult for men to actually take care of themselves and accept full responsibility for their lives, which in turn...
Are you suggesting that grown-up babies are a masculine feature? Because I'm pretty sure that's what the whole point of this is about.
Yeah.
To avoid toxic masculinity. What part of toxic masculinity entails a man-child?
you have
Well,
to...
see, the way it works is if you're not being female, you're being wrong. And that's toxic.
Well, you have to stop being a baby, which means you have to cry more. It makes complete sense. It also makes it more difficult for men to actually take care of themselves and accept full responsibility for their lives, which in turn infantilizes them and makes them less independent. Not a fan. Alright, next one. He doesn't have to come out to me. If there's one thing I want my son to know from his early childhood, it's that love is love. It doesn't matter if he falls in love with a woman.
Great. So What happens when his uncle starts touching him in his
Love is
no-no
love,
square?
dudes. Love is love.
Then he's getting extra love. And also he can cry about it.
While doing housework.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if he falls in love with a woman, a man, or anyone who identifies differently. As long as he's happy and he's treated well, I'm happy for him. But there's also this weird preconception that in our society that gay men are somehow less masculine. Don't get me wrong. There are gay men who completely embrace femininity, and they look fabulous while also being their authentic selves. Masculine gay men exist too, though. Just because you're a man who loves a man, it doesn't mean you're less of a man. I'll make sure my son remembers that.
It's true. You can be a lumberjack and be okay.
Yeah. Let's see. And the next one.
Someone flossing?
No.
I'm not.
It sounded like someone was flossing or some shit.
Like the
You're
dance?
Okay.
Yes, like the dance floss.
I will punch you.
He's not better than his sister. If the world my children live in is similar to the one we have today, my son might still have privileges his sister doesn't. He needs.
Oh, this is gonna be some hardcore projection, isn't it?
Well, she's already made some bold assumptions as is.
He needs to know that this doesn't make him better in any way. His gender might make his life in this world easier in many ways, while also posing some obstacles in others. Being a man doesn't make him automatically smarter than his opposite gender. He's not better in any way just because he might have more opportunities or less harassment to deal with.
I bet he's physically stronger than his sister.
Ah,
I bet he's smart enough not to blow every guy he sees.
That
Stronger than his
sounds
sister?
like some
Not
sort
this
of oppression there.
I mean,
Garrett.
if
Love
we're making
is love,
assumptions, I'm
Della.
just saying.
Love is love, Della.
You mean
can
Garrett,
love
Garrett.
you can
That
love
wasn't
as
Garrett.
many people as you want.
yeah, don't dead name Garrett Hedlund.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Jack.
Just for that, just
No one's ever called me Jack on this stream before.
I'm sorry, Quippers. Oh,
just for that, you're not getting a part in the next Tron movie.
There you go.
yeah, that's right. We had a nice role picked out for you and everything.
He still has to work hard, and he should respect every woman's capability to achieve great things. And the next one, Pink is awesome.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, she was all right.
Oh, you mean P exclamation point unk? Because I don't know who Pink is.
Well, that's how they pronounced it. It's pink.
P Inc.
If he doesn't like Pink, fair enough. I just don't want him to hate it just because our society has established it as a girly color.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Honestly, what's up with everyone hating on Pink as if girly things were some atrocity to humanity?
Well,
Because they kind of are.
One Direction, Twilight, fanfiction, you name it. Girly culture is universally detested just because it's for girls.
Detested by boys because it's for girls. Sure.
Also, those things are detested because they're shit.
yeah, like
Man, this
seriously.
author needs therapy, man. Jeez.
Are you saying Twilight is a good representation of women things? Because if so, that's not saying much about women. I want my son to know that girls are awesome, that liking Pink isn't against masculinity, that playing with dolls can be for boys just as it is for girls, and girls sometimes love to play with cars much more than they do with doll houses.
No. Boys can play with dolls as long as they're called action figures. That's the rule.
And
Well, I mean-
the color pink is perfectly fine provided it's in the middle of a steak.
The only other exception, Terry, would be, I mean, G.I. Joe does need a date.
Right. Sure.
Pink is fine as long as you're putting two into it.
And, I think it should be the female dolls that have the kung fu grip. I think they put it.
That seemed more appropriate, wouldn't it?
Right?
Well, I mean, you don't want them gripping it.
Is someone laughing?
Oh yeah.
You don't want them gripping it that hard. You get it ripped off.
Well, it's called jerking off for a reason, Frosted.
Right.
Toys shouldn't be divided into two gender categories. Play knows no boundaries. All right, and the next one. Consent is key.
For fuck's sake.
When he grows older, I want to make sure he realizes that what consent is and why it's so important. He should have an innate respect for women's choices about their own bodies in all areas of life, especially when it comes to what happens in the bedroom. All men
That boy's gonna be a eunuch.
all men ultimately want to be loved. The way to win a woman's love is through respecting her and never forcing her to do anything she's uncomfortable with. And the next one. Gentleness is manly.
Man.
What ministry?
There it is again.
What ministry you been hanging out with?
A man doesn't always have to be rough, violent, or wild. Men can be gentle. They can be quiet, introverted, and sweet. These qualities don't take any masculinity away from them. Kindness is actually
You're literally defining femininity. This is femininity. It is not masculinity.
No.
You don't know what masculinity is, you dumb bitch.
Sir, I'm gonna have to ask
Femininity is
you
the
to keep your
correct
facts
form
in
of
check.
masculinity.
Kindness is actually very hot, if you ask me.
Bullshit.
You know, the woman who's currently alone and childless.
Right.
Final thoughts. I probably won't be a perfect mom. I have to correct it because she put the stupid British spelling. No mother ever is. I'm going to try my best, though. I'll teach my children that they're all equal no matter what gender they have, and that their sex doesn't determine how intelligent, capable, or sensitive they're allowed to be. I cherish authenticity most of all. I'll do my best to assure my children that as long as they're themselves and as long as they always try to be better people, they are amazing, no matter how masculine or feminine they are. If we want to live in a world where all genders are equal, teaching our children such lessons is one of the most important things we can do. Let's make sure we become mothers who teach their sons how to be good men.
Okay, if this goblin ever has children, they're all of them are going to be they thems by force. You are not interested in their natural selves. You are interested in projecting your own insecurities onto them.
If this woman ever reproduces, it is not because of a good man. I guarantee you that. A good man would spare the gene pool.
Well, I'm sure whatever she does to her children will make them cry, which is good.
There you go.
Allegedly.
All right. And now on to final game of the night, which is Poe or No Gender Edition, where I'll give you 3 genders, 2 of which are from the LGBTIA wiki, meaning they're 100% real, and 1 I made up. You have to figure out which one is made up. And I'll even give you a short description of each one. So,